Hey there, fellow Americans and fellow preppers. Today I want to dive into something that's not just important, it's absolutely crucial. You won't believe what might be in store for us in the coming days. We're at a pivotal moment in our nation's economic journey, and the changes we're witnessing could reshape our future in ways we never imagined. Let's talk about the massive wave of layoffs that's hitting some of the biggest names in business. We've all heard of Google, right? Well, they're not alone. Hasbro and Citibank are also cutting their workforces in a big way. And this is not just a handful of jobs disappearing here and there. Thousands of people are suddenly facing a very uncertain future. This trend is spreading beyond just the tech and finance sectors, reaching into every corner of our economy. And it doesn't stop there. The global supply chain is facing unprecedented challenges. Take Maersk, for example, one of the giants in the shipping industry. They've had to pause container ship traffic through the Red Sea because of conflicts in the Middle East. This is a massive blow to global trade, and the effects are bound to ripple through our economy, possibly heading us toward a recession. Economic indicators like the Treasury yield and rising credit card delinquencies are flashing warning signs, signaling a potential downturn ahead. But here's the kicker: while many of us are struggling to make ends meet, the elite seem to be playing by an entirely different set of rules. People like Mark Zuckerberg are investing heavily in personal security, including luxury bunkers. What exactly are they preparing for? Why is there such a stark contrast between their actions and the daily struggles of the average American? As we approach the end of the year, a time that traditionally brings economic cheer thanks to the holiday season, we're instead seeing a grim trend. Layoffs are increasing and economic challenges are mounting. What does this mean for us? Why does it seem like the ones at the top are readying themselves for something big, while the rest of us are left in the dark? Stay with me as we unravel these mysteries and explore what this means for the future of our beloved nation. You'll want to hear what I've uncovered. This affects us all, and we need to be prepared for whatever comes next. 1. The auto loan crisis. This isn't just another economic hiccup, it's a tidal wave of debt threatening to engulf countless Americans. We're seeing unprecedented shifts in the auto industry, and trust me, you'll want to know what's unfolding. First off, have you noticed the plummeting car values lately? It's like watching a roller coaster drop, except this ride is far from thrilling for those affected. On average, car owners are seeing a staggering $6,000 wiped off their vehicle's worth. This isn't just a number, it's a harsh reality impacting families from coast to coast. In a world where every dollar counts, such a loss can be devastating. Now, let's stir in another ingredient into this boiling pot: rising interest rates. What does this concoction mean for the average car owner? It spells trouble. More and more people are finding themselves in the quagmire of negative equity. What is negative equity, you ask? It's a situation where you owe more on your car loan than what your car is currently worth. Imagine paying a premium for a car that's depreciating faster than ever. It's a bitter pill to swallow. As of November, the average American underwater on their car loan was in debt by about $6,000. This is the worst it's been since April 2020, offering a clear signal of an escalating crisis. But why should this ring alarm bells for you? Because it's a microcosm of a much larger economic struggle. If maintaining car payments becomes unmanageable, what does that imply about handling other financial commitments? It's a domino effect that could topple entire household budgets. The perfect storm of high loan balances, depreciating car values, and soaring interest rates is leading to an alarming surge in repossessions. According to insights from Edmunds, an automotive information firm, the data is downright frightening. We're witnessing a seismic shift in the car and auto loan industry, and it's not heading in a favorable direction. The effects aren't just confined to personal losses. When someone loses their car, it ripples into every facet of their life, affecting their ability to work, transport their kids to school, and simply live day to day. It's more than just a financial setback, it's a blow to their independence and livelihood. And here's where the plot thickens. If this is the scenario with cars, what's happening with home equity? Many are barely making ends meet, struggling to keep the lights on. It's not just a standalone issue, it's a snapshot of the broader economic challenges that our nation is grappling with. So what can we do about it? How do we navigate this storm as both individuals and a collective society? These questions are crucial, and the answers aren't simple. But acknowledging the problem is the first step toward finding a solution. We need to stay informed, think critically, and engage in these discussions. This auto loan crisis isn't just a series of numbers, it's about real people facing real struggles. It's happening right now in our communities, and it's up to us to shine a light on these issues. Let's start the conversation, and more importantly, let's find ways to act. Together we can weather this storm and hopefully find a path to calmer waters. 2. Have you noticed how the wealthy and influential are suddenly becoming preoccupied with survival strategies? This isn't simply a passing fad, it's a full-blown movement that's gaining considerable momentum, and it's something we can't afford to overlook. More and more billionaires, millionaires, and even Hollywood celebrities are getting serious about building bunkers and other survival structures. This isn't just gossip, it's happening. But why? What do they know that we don't? The timing of this trend is highly intriguing, coinciding with the release of a certain Netflix movie. Is it mere coincidence, or is there something deeper at play? Take, for example, public figures like Ronda Rousey and Post Malone. They're not just talking about prepping for a crisis, they're actually doing it. This leads us to an important question: are they merely being cautious, or do they have credible reasons to anticipate a major crisis on the horizon? It's not just a couple of isolated events we're observing. It's an expanding, significant trend among the elite. Interestingly, this isn't confined to just the United States. It's a global phenomenon, echoing across borders. But here's the troubling part: while those with substantial resources are making moves to shield themselves, the general public seems largely oblivious or unprepared for what might be coming. This scenario should serve as a wake-up call for every one of us. When those with access to the best information and resources are taking protective measures, it's time to sit up and pay attention. What does this mean for the average American? Should we be considering our own preparations? And more importantly, what could be looming on the horizon that's prompting these actions from the elite? The stark contrast between the preparations of the wealthy and the struggles of the everyday person is growing more apparent and concerning by the day. While the elite build bunkers and secure safe havens, many Americans are simply trying to get by, juggling bills and daily expenses. This disparity in preparedness and awareness could have significant implications for how different parts of society will fare if a crisis does indeed strike. It's a sobering thought that while some are securing their futures, others may be left vulnerable. Perhaps it's time we start asking ourselves some challenging questions. Is there something we should be doing differently? How can we ensure we're not left behind if and when a crisis unfolds? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary. Let's delve into these issues together, staying informed and proactive about our future. Because as the old saying goes, better safe than sorry. 3. Now we're diving into a topic that sounds like it's straight out of a science fiction novel, but is very much a reality right now in the United States, specifically in California. The state has introduced a groundbreaking, yet controversial, law that's turning heads and raising eyebrows. Imagine turning sewage into drinking water. Yes, you heard that right. The water you flush down the toilet could soon be purified and piped back into your kitchen sink. It's not a fictional tale, it's happening as we speak. But before you leap to conclusions, let's unpack this. How on earth is this possible? And more importantly, how safe is it? The process is complex, involving multiple stages of advanced filtration and rigorous treatment to scrub away contaminants and pathogens. On paper, the science supports it, with technology promising to deliver pure, safe drinking water. Yet the question looms large: are we ready to accept this as our new reality? It's not just about the scientific feasibility, but also about our comfort level with the idea. Can we trust in these systems to deliver on their promise consistently? This new law is a testament to California's reputation for progressive policies, but it also pushes the envelope on what we define as acceptable environmental practices. Faced with severe water scarcity, California sees this as a necessary solution. It's a bold, daring move intended to address the pressing issue of dwindling water resources. If it works, it could set a trailblazing precedent for other regions grappling with similar crises. But if it doesn't, it may serve as a cautionary tale, illustrating the risks of such ambitious undertakings. And remember, it's not just about drinking water. This law symbolizes a wider trend in environmental policymaking, where old boundaries are being dismantled in favor of innovative solutions. From banning leaf blowers to recycling water, California is at the cutting edge of environmental policy. But it begs the question: at what cost are we pushing these boundaries? Are we as a society ready for such radical shifts? This isn't just an issue for Californians. It's indicative of a potential future many regions could face as natural resources become scarcer. We all need to ponder on this: how far are we willing to go to tackle our environmental problems? Are we ready to upend our most foundational beliefs about resources like water? This isn't a hypothetical scenario that's years away. It's happening right now, and it calls for our attention and thoughtful consideration. As we move forward, these conversations will shape the policies and practices that determine how we live and interact with our environment. For California's unfolding economic turmoil, this is not just a local issue, it's a scenario that could potentially ripple across the entire nation. So what's happening in the Golden State, and why should you care? Let's break it down. Recently, over 1,100 Pizza Hut delivery drivers in California received devastating news they're facing layoffs. The reason? A well-intentioned but possibly flawed wage hike policy. The state government, under the leadership of the governor, has been pushing for a minimum wage increase to $20 per hour. On the surface, this seems like a fantastic win for workers, right? More money in the pockets of hardworking individuals sounds great. But here's where it gets complicated. This wage hike, while designed to uplift, is actually leading to job losses. Imagine that over 1,000 people suddenly unemployed. These are not just numbers, these are real people with families, bills, and dreams. Now, they're caught in the crossfire of economic policies and market realities. It's a classic case of good intentions clashing with the economic landscape. But why is this happening? It's not just about wages. It's about inflation, a silent economic force that's been growing in the background. Remember the massive influx of money printed back in 2020? We're now experiencing the repercussions of those actions. If that hadn't occurred, perhaps a $20 minimum wage wouldn't even be on the table. Moreover, when wages suddenly jump, not everyone sees a raise. This creates a new kind of economic disparity. We're talking about a future where the majority could become have-nots, while the ultra-rich, like Jeff Bezos, continue to thrive in their wealth bubble. It's a reshuffling of economic burdens without addressing the root issues. What we're witnessing in California serves as a warning for the entire country. It's a vivid example of how economic decisions can have unintended, far-reaching consequences. This isn't just about one state, it's a glimpse into what could be a broader trend if similar policies are implemented nationwide. So, what lessons can we learn from California's situation? It's crucial to look beyond the immediate appeal of well-meaning policies and scrutinize their real-world effects. Are these policies tackling the root problems, such as inflation, or are they merely temporary fixes to deeper economic wounds? As this situation unfolds, we must remain informed and proactive. California's economic upheaval might just be a preview of what's in store for other states. It's a stark reminder that economic policies are not just abstract ideas tossed around in political debates, they have concrete impacts on people like you and me. 5. Now we're diving into some unsettling territory that's causing ripples across the U.S. Economy, a series of signs that point toward a potential crisis looming on the horizon. This isn't just financial jargon, it's a reality check that affects us all. Let's break it down. Picture this: banks across the nation are grappling with a jaw-dropping collective loss of $160 billion on commercial real estate loans. That's not just a blip in the market, it's a significant rupture that hints at deeper issues within our financial infrastructure. And it's not just a handful of banks feeling the tremors. This is a widespread phenomenon signaling a deeper trend of instability. Consider the massive job cuts. The world's largest banks have slashed over 60,000 jobs, marking one of the most disastrous years since the financial meltdown of the late 2000s. These aren't mere statistics, they're tens of thousands of households facing upheaval and uncertainty. What does it say about the health of our economy when even the titans of finance are in turmoil? Then there's the Federal Reserve raising interest rates in what seems to be an attempt to tackle inflation. But what's the real-world impact of these rate hikes? Bankruptcy filings are soaring, hinting at an uncomfortable truth. This isn't a coincidence, there's a clear link between rising rates and the surge in bankruptcies. Have you noticed the recent developments in the bond market? The share of high-yield bonds set to mature in the next 3 years is climbing. While this might sound like complex financial talk, it's crucial to understand. More companies are taking on riskier loans that will soon come due, a situation that could lead to a cascade of defaults if the economic climate remains volatile. Perhaps the most alarming is the specter of a massive stock market crash, with some experts drawing parallels to the Great Depression. This isn't about spreading fear, it's a sober assessment based on current market conditions. We are said to be in the grip of the greatest credit bubble in human history. When or if this bubble bursts, the fallout could be catastrophic. So what does all this mean for you, the everyday American? It's a wake-up call. The economic strain is palpable, and it's not confined to Wall Street. It's reaching into Main Street, affecting job security, personal savings, and the broader financial future. We need to ask ourselves, are we truly prepared for what might be coming? Are those in positions of power taking the necessary steps to protect our economy? The indicators are clear, and they demand our attention and prompt action. This isn't just another dip in the economic cycle, it's a potential game changer, a warning of a severe downturn. 6. The looming threat of war and the challenges our military is facing in recruitment. This isn't just a distant geopolitical issue, it's an urgent matter that demands our attention. Let's start with the Red Sea, a region that's seen over $35 billion worth of cargo diverted due to escalating fears of attacks. Now, this isn't merely about rerouting ships, it's a stark indicator of growing tensions that could spiral into another conflict. The question we must ask ourselves is, are we truly prepared for what could lie ahead? But there's another side to this unfolding situation that's just as concerning: our military's recruitment crisis. Traditionally, the military has been a symbol of strength and readiness, but today it's facing significant challenges, particularly in attracting Gen Z recruits. Why is this happening? It's not just about the rigors of military life or the pay, but something deeper: a disconnect between the values of this new generation and the realities of military service. Platforms like TikTok are buzzing with young voices expressing their hesitations and concerns about joining the military. They're questioning not only the hardships but the very purpose of serving. This isn't merely a military problem, it reflects a broader societal shift. As potential conflicts brew, there's a growing reluctance among the young to enlist. This presents a dual challenge: a possible new conflict and a reluctance in the ranks to engage. What does this mean for future military engagements? How can we fulfill our global military responsibilities if this recruitment trend persists? It's not just about having enough boots on the ground, it's about maintaining a capable and ready force. If our military consistently struggles to attract young, talented individuals, how will this affect our military effectiveness? What impact will it have on our standing on the global stage? These questions are not just academic, they're vital to understanding our nation's future readiness. It's not simply about policy or strategy, it's about recognizing and adapting to the changing dynamics of our society. As these events continue to unfold, it's crucial that we keep these issues in our thoughts. The decisions we make today will shape our ability to respond to tomorrow's crises. We must consider how to bridge the gap between the military and the younger generation, ensuring that we have a capable force ready to meet global challenges. 7. The real estate market. Hold on to your seats, because what's happening right now is nothing short of astonishing. We're not just witnessing a minor dip in property values, we're potentially on the brink of the most significant real estate correction in modern history. Imagine this: Grant Cardone, a stalwart in the private equity fund realm, is sounding the alarm. He's watched the market's ebbs and flows for decades, and even he is declaring that this correction is going to be unlike anything he has ever witnessed. This isn't just a dramatic statement, it's a wake-up call for every homeowner and aspiring investor out there. Consider Lennar, a titan in the real estate industry. They're currently trying to offload a staggering $4.5 billion worth of property. Yes, you heard that right, billion with a B. And they're not the only ones. Other major players are also shedding significant portions of their portfolios. What are they seeing on the horizon that we aren't? But here's where it gets really interesting. While this correction might seem like a dark cloud, it could also be a silver lining for those ready to seize the moment. This situation presents a rare opportunity for ordinary people to step into the real estate arena and acquire premium properties that typically only the big fish can access. Imagine being able to secure assets usually reserved for the elite. It's a chance that doesn't come around often. Now, you might be wondering, is this the right time to jump into the market, or should I consider selling? These are valid questions. The real estate market is unpredictable, and timing can be everything. The secret is to stay well-informed and vigilant, ready to pounce when the right opportunity arises. Remember, in real estate, fortunes can be made or lost in the blink of an eye. And what about BlackRock, another colossal player sitting on a mountain of cash? They're poised to capitalize on the unfolding opportunities, not just participating in the market, but potentially steering its course. Their involvement signals just how large the stakes have become. So what does this mean for you? It means keeping your eyes peeled and your mind sharp. The real estate market isn't just about property transactions, it's a mirror of our broader economic health. What happens here can ripple out, affecting jobs, savings, and the future stability of families across the nation. 8. The alarming cuts in the global workforce and supply chain disruptions. Strap in, because what's unfolding is not just a minor inconvenience, it's a situation that could have profound impacts on how we live our daily lives. Let's kick things off with a name you might not have heard yet, Kites. They've recently confirmed a dramatic 15% reduction in their global workforce. This isn't just a statistic, it's a red flag signaling greater turbulence ahead. But it's not just isolated to Kites. Major players in logistics and supply chains, such as UPS, FedEx, and MK, are also announcing significant layoffs. This isn't about the loss of a few jobs here and there. We're witnessing thousands of people suddenly out of work, and that's a massive hit to the efficiency of our supply chains. What does this mean for us? Well, consider the delivery of goods and the potential strain on our supply chains. This disruption could translate into longer wait times and higher prices for the everyday products we rely on. The situation is further compounded by Maersk, a colossal entity in container shipping, halting all traffic through the Red Sea due to ongoing conflicts in the Middle East. This is a critical trade route, and putting it on pause is bound to cause significant ripple effects worldwide. Imagine the goods we use daily, will they be delayed? Or worse, could they fail to reach us entirely? Maersk's decision didn't stop at halting ships, they also announced a staggering layoff of 10,000 workers. Each of these individuals played a vital role in the complex network that keeps the global supply chain humming. What are the consequences when these essential links are removed? And it's not just the logistics sector feeling the crunch. Citibank is reportedly slashing 24,000 jobs. This isn't merely a setback for the individuals involved, it's a potential upheaval in the financial system. These are the professionals who manage our transactions, savings, and investments. What does their reduction signify for the stability and security of our banking systems? There's a clear pattern here. This isn't an isolated issue confined to a single industry or country. It's a global phenomenon that's rapidly approaching our front door. We're witnessing the very backbone of global trade and finance being shaken. So what does this mean for each of us? How will it affect our job security, our savings, and our future? Consider the implications. These are not just numbers on a spreadsheet. These are real, tangible changes that have the power to influence everything from the prices you pay at the grocery store to the reliability of your bank. The global workforce reductions and supply chain disruptions are a serious signal that we need to be vigilant and prepare for potential challenges ahead. 9. The rising instability in our banking sector and the alarming increase in household debt. Trust me, this is something that could have serious ramifications for all of us, so let's unpack what's happening. First, let's tackle the banking sector. You've probably heard whispers about the struggles of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. But here's a piece of the puzzle you might not know: the Federal Reserve expected these banks to repay their loans by the end of 2023. The reality? These repayments are looking more and more like a distant dream. Instead of reducing their debt, these banks are digging themselves deeper, continuously borrowing more money. Imagine trying to put out a fire with gasoline. That's essentially what's happening here. But the banking woes don't stop there. This trend is spreading across the industry, not just isolated to a few institutions. It's a systemic issue that could have far-reaching impacts on our financial stability. Now let's zoom out from the banks and look at what's happening in our households. Moody's recently released some jaw-dropping data. Household debt has surged by an astounding 17.29% from the previous quarter. Let that sink in. Since the last quarter of 2019, household debt has ballooned by $3.1 trillion. This isn't just a number, it represents millions of families grappling with financial pressure, trying to stay afloat amid rising costs of living. For the average American family, this isn't just about skipping out on luxury items. We're talking about struggling to cover basic, essential living expenses. Picture this: 50 million American households are facing these financial hardships. That's a massive slice of our population. It could be your neighbors, your friends, or maybe even you. And it doesn't stop there. Credit card and auto loan delinquencies are climbing as more people fall behind on their monthly payments. This isn't a handful of cases, it's a growing trend, a canary in the coal mine warning us of potential broader economic troubles. So what do these financial tremors mean for us? Well, we could be staring down the barrel of a banking crisis as soon as early 2025. With banks under mounting stress and households drowning in debt, the economic stability we often take for granted is being challenged. While this unfolds, what are the billionaires doing? They're hedging their bets, preparing for worst-case scenarios by building bunkers and doubling down on security. It's a stark contrast to the daily struggles faced by average Americans. 10. The unprecedented wealth exodus from California. This isn't just a local phenomenon, it's a harbinger of potential trends that could impact the entire United States. So fasten your seatbelts as we dive into the unfolding story. Imagine this: some of California's wealthiest residents are packing their bags and leaving the state in droves. This isn't a small trickle, it's a significant outflow of people who have historically contributed a large portion to the state's tax revenue. In just 2023, California witnessed a population decline of tens of thousands. This isn't merely about the numbers, it's about who is leaving. These are individuals who play a crucial role in the state's economic engine. Now, you might be asking, why does this matter to someone not living in California? Here's the deal: what's happening in the Golden State could very well be a preview of what might occur in other states. When the wealthy leave, their tax dollars go with them, leaving behind a financial void. California, despite its massive economy, is already feeling the pinch with a burgeoning budget deficit. This isn't a minor shortfall, it's a substantial hit that threatens the state's fiscal stability. Let's take a quick look back. Between 2020 and 2021, IRS migration data showed a net loss of about 158,000 Californians. This mass departure includes some of the state's most affluent individuals. The ripple effect: a significant chunk of tax revenue is now at risk, which could alter California's economic landscape dramatically. But wait, there's more. In response to this exodus, California is contemplating a radical move, taxing individuals even after they have left the state. That's right. The idea of taxing former residents sets a concerning precedent and raises big questions about the state's economic policies. What does it say about a state's financial health if it resorts to such measures? So what does this mean for you, particularly if you reside in another state? If you're in a state with similarly high tax policies, California's scenario might be a glimpse into your potential future. If the affluent leave, the middle and working classes might have to shoulder the increased tax burden. And for business owners or those aspiring to achieve wealth, the situation in California might prompt you to reconsider where to establish your roots or grow your enterprise. This isn't just about economics, it's about understanding the broader implications of policy decisions and demographic shifts. As we continue to monitor these developments, it's crucial to stay informed and consider how these trends might shape our collective future.